into the gameplay, guys.
Game 1 Clash Royale World Finals 2025 DreamHack Atlanta underway.
A rage from Pedro. Just starting off right away. He's got some beatdown. Once again, guys, it is best of 5 duels. So we're gonna start seeing a little bit of weird spells, weird combinations. Because it doesn't just matter later in the match, it matters now. Saving certain spells. And the crowd erupts with the king. The crowd here in Atlanta is insane.
Yeah, every single time anything happens, they go off, and you just love to see it. Right here, Sub activating the King Tower, and then going in with the Hunter behind. Monk is going to pop its ability on Pedro's end, and now a Monk ability from Sub, but it doesn't really get that much value.
So it looks like we're just heading into a Roll Giant Mirror matchup. Pedro opting to use the Evo Wizard, Sub with the Evo Hunter. I would say Evo Hunter is a little bit more valuable in this situation, but at the same time, it's also more Monk value as well.
Yeah, we're gonna see the rest of the decks soon. Fisherman coming in for Sub. Going to be able to clean that up very nicely with the Fisherman and the guards, but a second shot is gonna rain down on the tower from Pedro's RG.
A perfect Electro Spirit to prevent all Roll Giant damage from Pedro. And this is why I mentioned earlier that Pedro is considered the best Roll Giant player at the moment. I mean, he just knows every single interaction, but I think a big thing to notice also is the fact that Pedro has Rage. You know, if Sub does have the log for the knockback on RG and for the guards, that could be a big difference maker.
And right here, Sub electing to go all in, gets the Evo RG right in front of the Hunter. And so the Evo RG in response, and that Monk ability is brilliant from Pedro. Takes only one shot and the crowd starts to erupt. Pedro does take a slight advantage.
There is the log from Sub. Really good plays by Pedro with the deflection of the Roll Giant. And he continues to get damage as well. I would say that this log could be huge later down the line, though.
And here we go, Fisherman against Fisherman. Sub's Fisherman going to put in a lot of work. Hunter is going to be able to get a lot of damage, but the Rage plus the Vines doesn't do enough. And Sub defends it with the skin of his teeth.
Another Roll Giant the Bridge. Pedro pre-placing the Monk in the middle area in order to try to get the RG deflection. We will see it drop now.
And right here, RG not getting enough, doesn't get the second shot. The Monk is able to place his hands on top of the RG's body and gets taken off the arena.
And another Monk set up with the Hunter. We're gonna see another Roll Giant in soon. Pedro trying to control it with the Fisherman.
Wow,
with the deflection on the Wizard! Deflection on the Wizard from the Monk! And that's splashing on tower!
And right here, Sub, I mean, it wasn't the best start, but so far he has been playing this beautifully. It's just attack, attack, attack. Finally, Pedro has played an RG. It felt like we went 2.5 minutes before we played an RG down.
And Sub's gonna keep up the pressure. Another Evo Roll Giant. Evo Wizards on the board with the Vines. The Vine, will it prevent the Monk ability from dropping? Wait, he does get off. It is deflecting the Wizard. Roll Giant is on the tower. Oh my goodness, Josh.
The Fisherman doesn't yank. The Fisherman doesn't yank. The RG plus the Fireball. Game 1 goes to Sub.
In the crowd. I'm gonna say, I think Pedro should bring a good counter to the Ghost, like the Valkyrie.
Wow, and Sub already using the Minion Horde. Mortar on offense for Pedro. There's a couple different options with a Minion Horde deck. You can sometimes use the Zap to try and get the Miners to protect for your Minion Horde. And then you can also go a little bit slower using the arrows, try and get... It's probably looking like it's going to be a Mortar versus Mortar.
Miner is getting cleaned up very nicely by the Berserker. Pedro going with one of his comforts, another one of his comforts in the Mortar. Boss Bandit variation that we saw Mo kind of bring into this CRL mini meta yesterday.
Skeleton King gonna walk down the lane. Boss Bandit has been one of those cards that's been very surprising. It's just great how valuable it is. And this Mother Witch is gonna put on work on the right. And if the Boss Bandit doesn't take out the Skeleton King, we could be seeing a GG. Instead, the Boss Bandit does take it out. That could have been incredibly dangerous for Pedro, and no dash from the Boss Bandit.
Mortar to the bridge. We have a Mortar Mirror matchup. Goblin Gang is not getting hit by the Ghost right away, and a defensive Mortar from Pedro as well. So once again, Sub kind of wandering into Pedro's territory since he has a little bit more expertise with these kind of decks.
Yeah, and right there does mess up with the Royal Ghost. E-Wiz a little bit delayed, and
Wait.
with the help of the Vines, that's going to take out the E-Wiz and get another shot. Skeleton Barrel on 3 Elixir, and the Minion Horde is going to be able to clean that up nicely. Would have liked to see maybe a little bit different tile placement. I felt like he could have protected a few more of those minions.
Gang has to drop down to defend this Minion Horde. And I think the card to watch out here, if you're in the crowd, is the Mother Witch. The Mother Witch is going to be huge in this matchup to deal with Skeleton Barrels and the Goblin Gang. Pedro, on the other hand, is going to want to use that Boss Bandit, try and protect those units and dash onto that Mother Witch.
Last card for Pedro should be the Fireball, so it looks like he's just kind of delaying, trying to figure out when he should be using it. But I mean, we've seen the Minion Horde get placed multiple times, Mother Witch as well, and he hasn't used it, so it could be Lightning. There's a couple different things that he could be doing with it.
Yeah, there's the Minion Horde. I think it's a great call. Minion Horde's super strong this matchup.
Wow.
And the General Jerry is pushing forward as well. Evo Skeleton Barrel's forced on defense, and the pressure is mounting here for Pedro. Will he be able to defend versus the Skeleton King ability versus the Evo Ghost?
Yeah, that E-Wiz putting in a ton of work, cleaning up everything very nicely. The Boss Bandit will help out as well, and a defensive mortar, Sub recognizing that he spent a lot of Elixir and didn't get a ton of value. And yes, these Minion Hordes are fantastic, and yeah, the Fireball is the card in Pedro's deck. This Skeleton army does defend pretty well, but Pedro does take the lead.
Yes, Pedro taking the damage lead, Skeleton King in the back, filling up the ability from the Lost Souls of the Skeleton army. And I like this placement by Pedro, playing the mortar 1 tile lower, but Sub knows he can pressure the ops lane because of that.
So going into overtime, both towers very close, and you know, when you look at the matchup, Pedro does has a slight lead, but who do you think has the advantage?
The advantage here, I mean, it's tough. I would say maybe Pedro. He has a little bit more damage, like basically lock damage with the Fireball. The Electro Wizard kind of acts as a secondary spell as well.
These Skeleton Barrels are so difficult to defend, forces out the defensive miner, and Pedro screams into the lead. I mean, Sub just doesn't have a small spell, and so every time the Skeleton Barrel locks onto the tower, I mean, an Evo Skelly Barrel on the tower means GG, so he has to protect.
Vines dropping, Evo Ghost as well, trying to clear this gang. He wants the mortar connection, but the mortars take out each other, and the Evo Ghost is controlled masterfully.
Good offensive pressure, didn't overextend. Mother Witch to try and get one of these piggies to go on the map, and Minion Horde over the middle, and a defensive Skeleton Barrel gonna clean up everything beautiful. That Minion Horde is just gone.
And this is exactly how Muhammad Light likes to play. He gets the damage lead, and then he continues to use his Evos even on defense. And I think Pedro's taking a lot of that gameplay from him. I mean, I love the use of the Evo Skeleton Barrel to deal with the Minion Horde. Will the General oh my goodness, the General Jerry barely gets taken out by the E-Wiz.
And right here, just Scar Me plus Skeleton King Larry's, and right there, Boss Bandit does clean up pretty nicely. Mother Witch pressure over the middle, 15 seconds left. This is an all-out assault. If he defends, he wins. If he doesn't, Sub does.
Wait, the Evo Ghost is going toward the tower. Ghoul's on tower.
11.
Mortar's not helping.
He takes the lead.
He takes the lead.
If he fireballs in time. If he fireballs in time.
Fireball.
Fireball doesn't get there. Fireball doesn't get there. Sub gets it. Sub gets it. We are going to be seeing that right now. Game 3, an opportunity for Sub to get a full-out 3-game sweep. Yeah, if I am Sub's, well, actually, not if I'm his coach, because his coach can't actually help out right now. But if I'm Sub, I'm probably sticking to something that I've used so far in this weekend. But I don't know if he's used Dark Prince. Dark Prince, not very common. And E-Wiz plus Dark Prince, we could be looking at P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah, Sub, a great bridge band player. I like this. I like this idea, just to go to your comfort, play your best game. Pedro, on the other hand, does kind of do what I was expecting, right? He understood what Sub likes to play, and he's brought a really nice matchup, having delivery, the Evil Ice Spirit, and even a tank in the Skeleton King in order to try and really get him into this best of 5.
Very clean defense from Pedro. Offensive rage to help out the Bandit. Not going to do anything. And Pedro off to a strong start in this game number 3.
On the other hand, Sub has cycled his Evo Battle Ram twice now, so he will have Evo in cycle soon. Pedro preemptively dropping the snowball, understanding the arrows are most likely dropping down.
Yeah, it's so crazy how even in a best of 5 when the decks are changing in ways that we've never seen before, these two players can just predict what's going to be happening. He shouldn't have been able to predict that arrows were going to come down, and yet he did it very easily.
Bend at the back. Last card from sub, most likely Evo P.E.K.K.A. Pedro setting up on defense with the Skeleton King. Josh, talk to me here. What are you thinking Pedro's last couple cards could be and how that could influence the rest of this game?
Yeah, I really want to hope that it's not going to be Graveyard. I'm not a big fan of Graveyard in this meta. Skeleton King does get activated, and defensive arrows right there to protect the E-Wiz. But I do not want to see... Okay, perfect. I really like that idea, and if we're going to be seeing Drill, we're probably going to be seeing Rocket. A lot of players are joining those two cards together, especially because we haven't seen him use that last card just yet.
Icewiz trying to slow everything down, Skeleton King tanking, and there's the P.E.K.K.A. from sub. He wants to get both of his Evos in tandem together in order to break through this lockdown defense from Pedro.
And right here, I'm trying to figure out, this might be the first Evo P.E.K.K.A. that we've seen. We've seen a couple P.E.K.K.A. decks, but they tend to try and use it with either the Battle Rams or you know, the Royal Ghosts. It's going to be interesting to see how strong this Evo P.E.K.K.A. and how much value it can get.
Evo P.E.K.K.A. is on the board. Skeleton King ability, forcing the defense. Icewiz splashing everything. And Pedro, you can really just tell by his gameplay. His plan is to have a perfect defense this entire match and send one rocket at the very end in order to win.
Yeah, he figured out what he needs to do. Dark Prince plus Bandit, opposite lane. We should see another set of arrows come down shortly, maybe plus the Rage. There it is.
Wait, E-Wiz takes out the Evil Ice Spirit. The P.E.K.K.A. is now needing a lot more attention, and the Evil Battle Ram on the board as well.
He doesn't have enough. The minions are going to come down at the bridge. He's going to be able to defend that, but the minions are going to get a ton of value, even with the Ice Spirit jumping. Should be getting 4 swings. There's 2, there's 3, and no 4th. So Pedro going to be defending that as best he could, but that E-Wiz taking out that Ice Spirit, that is a game changer.
Yeah, that 1 Elixir card can provide so much value defensively, and we do see Pedro coming out with a rocket. He knows that just defending and dropping 1 rocket will no longer be enough, but now he's in Elixir deficit. Will he be able to defend another onslaught from sub?
And right here, sub going to go in the right lane with the Dark Prince, plus the Rage, plus the Battle Ram, everything coming down the lane. Battle Ram will get caught up by the Skeletons from the Skeleton King, and a clean defense from Pedro. He was able to get away with a rocket and just an easy defense.
Another rocket dropping down, tries to hit the Bandit, doesn't get it. And once again, going to be down 6 Elixir. Can he make this defense happen on the biggest of stages?
The minions forcing the Spirit Goblins to do the right side, allowing the Bandit to take out the Goblin Hut. And here we go. Defensive Evo Ice Spirit right lane should be cleaned up real nicely. The Bandit on offense, and there are just so many troops, it's hard to pick out what's even happening.
And Evil Battle Ram is placed at the bridge. Does he have the snowball and cycle? He does drop it down. 2 Ice Wizards, a Rage from sub to try to break through, but the delivery drops into everything. And with 10 seconds left, Pedro gets 1 more rocket off. Sub's pressure was not quite enough.
2 seconds, 1 second, and that is towered down. Pedro avoiding the full-on sweep, and that was just a majestic deck. I love the deck choice in game number 3. Just give yourself a chance to have an easy match.
Crowd is excited. Pedro with the Skeletons, cycling, trying to figure out, and he goes to one of his bread and butter decks, bringing some Miner. No rocket available for him though, so most likely gonna be Miner Poison.
Royal Ghost for Pedro, and as soon as you see the Royal Ghost, the matchup instantly becomes 60-40 for the player with it. So he has to be feeling good that he was able to survive this long and still have it available to him. Evo Wall Breakers plus Evo Royal Ghost, and here it is, Sub getting very aggressive with the Graveyard, and we see him shake his head. This is why I don't like Graveyard in this meta. There's too many small cards, too many easy defenses.
And there's a big counter push as well. Miner minions on the right, Ghost on the left, trying to clean everything up. Goblin Hut does drop. Will the Wall Breakers connect with the minions cleaning up this hut?
And one of them is able to make it to the tower. It could have been a lot worse. I actually really loved Sub's timing with the Goblin Hut. trying to protect himself from the minions swinging away at the Spear Goblins, and he was able to take it out, but not before Pedro gets his tower down to 23-18.
And once again, we are in a situation where Pedro has predicted his practice partner and got himself into a really good matchup. He has poison and minions for Graveyard. He also has really, really solid pressure with the Wall Breakers Evo and the Ghost Evo. Not to mention, he's just up like 700 damage to start the game.
Yeah, so Sub quickly recognizing that the only way he can win, I mean, it has to be just with good Evo Witch gameplay. At this point, you know your opponent has the minions, the poison, the bar barrel, the cannon. I mean, he has every answer available to him, and so you need to be getting Evo Witch value if you're going to somehow come away with a victory.
Another thing in this matchup, which is so important, is you need enough elixir to go poison with your Graveyard. On its own, it's just not enough. You see the minions and skeletons just countering everything for very cheap, plus counter push every time.
Yeah, and the cannon on 1% health is still going to get one shot on top of the Ice Wizard. And here we go. Pedro going to cycle cannons in the middle, recognizing that he can't overextend, but he can also just start playing troops. It should be easy defense again and again.
In a perfect bar barrel from Pedro,
wow.
Damaging the Witch while also pulling the Knight back to get the Graveyard. And on the right-hand side, we see the Evo Breakers. Goblin Knight does defend, Knight does get on tower. Sub is trying to come back and make this upset in this matchup happen.
10 seconds left before we hit OT. And right here, Pedro has a pretty big advantage. We could see a late Goblin Knight. No, we're gonna instead elect to go Ice Wiz plus Bar Barrel. A lot of cards, but you can't really use the poison on top of the troops, so it's okay to bunch. It's not great, but it is okay.
Evo goes Bar Barrel. Sub knows what's in cycle, decides not to go in for that Graveyard, just baiting out the Evo Ghost instead. Big counter push from Pedro, but the Witch plus Ice Wiz cleans up. But the Miner, Josh, it's always chipping away.
Yeah, these Miner placements have been beautiful, trying to protect the 1% minions and the Wall Breakers, just everything going Pedro's way. These minions are so aggressive, and we see a nice Goblin Hut trying to be able to protect the Knight and take out those bridge minions from Pedro.
Miner once again coming in, does get some chip. Ice Wiz not down in time. And if you're Sub now, like, you have to start thinking not only about perfect defense, but you need to attack. So he's going in for the Graveyard, but the Evo Breakers are perfectly timed in order to basically apply pressure. But the Evo Witch Protection, sorry, I gotta stop.
Yeah, the Evo Witch Protection is a fantastic. Cannon high, trying to take out the Witch, going to target the Skellies instead though. And that's gonna be a defensive poison for Pedro, and it's gonna clean up everything relatively nicely. But this bridge battle is being won by Sub over and over. Only 6 elixir. Pedro in a world of hurt. We finally see the offensive poison. The poison get played. And again, another defensive ghost. Skellies line up beautifully. All 3 on the inside of the tower. And all of a sudden, Sub is going to storm into the lead.
Pedro's trying to come back, but the Knight picks up. Will the Wall Breakers be able to connect? No, Barbarian Barrel in cycle. And with 20 seconds left, we see yet another Graveyard Poison from Sub.
Now it's just RNG. Can you have the Skellies hit the tower? We see one Skelly get on the tower, and that's going to be it. 1399, able to protect, not give up any damage. We see the offensive Graveyard. The Miner gets caught.
The Miner gets caught again.
The
poison is tipping. The skeleton hits.